What does it mean to have aura in motorsport? A question I asked myself, then later challenged myself to write a piece on for the good old YouTube. The word aura, defined by Oxford Languages, means, quote, the distinctive atmosphere or quality that seems to surround and be generated by a person, thing, or place. Now the question stands, can you find examples of this in motorsport? Well, the answer is easily yes. It's debated on F1 Twitter religiously on a daily basis. Which driver had the most aura? Which driver had none? Well, let's take a deeper dive into aura in motorsport. Or at least try. Max Verstappen is arguably the best driver in Formula 1 at the moment. He has 3 championships in a row with a potential 4th on the way. But one main criticism of Max is that he simply possesses no aura. Max, at least at face value, is one of the more flat personalities on the grid. A driver not too worried about his public perception or how he looks, opting to wear casual fits and one to have pretty mild celebrations when he wins. Having aura seemingly is not high on Max's list of priorities, probably because he's so focused on doing the job at hand, which is to win races and win world championships. Luckily for Max, his fans are not only aware of this, but accept him for who he is, a more reserved personality. However, for many, having aura is a paramount trait for world champions. It's one thing to just win races and titles, but it's another thing to generate aura while doing so, to be someone who looks the part. For those that don't find themselves wowed by Max and instead want a driver that exhibits the very aura they desire from a world champion, then you too have drivers you can lean on. Look no further than Lewis Hamilton. Aside from simply winning races, Lewis Hamilton also had the aura to back up his success. Yes, some of his outfits may have missed, but the ones that slapped, slapped. Lewis had the swagger, the brand deals, the energetic celebrations, the overall look of someone important, the look of a world champion. And in line with the definition, Lewis indeed generates an atmosphere with his presence, even despite not winning anything in 2 years. Being able to still garner this reaction despite that fact is a true testament to Lewis Hamilton's aura. However, that's what most people would describe as aura. But can you have aura in different ways? Can you have aura without a brand deal, flashy clothes, or appearances on TV shows? Can you have aura without having any personality at all? Well, let's ask Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen was able to generate aura despite being reserved, quiet, and a man of little personality. Despite this, he indeed did have aura. Donning the popular shades, by being so reserved and being of few words, it ended up drawing more attention to Kimi, resulting in the massive fan base he still has to this day. His on-track prowess also aided this aura with his amazing moments at McLaren and Ferrari. Kimi Räikkönen, without flashiness and through sheer stoicism, had aura. Other drivers may not have had aura 24/7, but instead had specific moments that generated aura. Let's take Sebastian Vettel for instance. May not have had aura 24/7, depending on who you ask, but moments like India 2013 when he clinched his 4th world title, bowing down to his Red Bull and celebrating with the crowd after being so hated prior, was a moment where Seb had aura. Another example is Malaysia 2015, where Seb scored his first win for Ferrari, a win that broke droughts for both himself and the team. That was a moment where he generated aura. Other instances like when he raised the #1 finger in victory, or celebrated in Singapore with the glistening lights as a backdrop. All moments of aura. I spoke on Max Verstappen earlier and how many believe he did not have aura, but even he had his moments of exerting it. My favorite is Miami 2023, where after stretching his tires long enough to beat his pole-sitting teammate from P9 and to win the race, he pointed at the #1 on his car in Parc Fermé. This to me was Max Verstappen exhibiting his highest level of aura, pulling off a masterclass and then pointing at the number that reminded everybody about his status as the sports champion. But what if we exclude personality or anything social? what if we kept it strictly wheel? Can you have aura behind the wheel of a car? The answer is yes, and in my opinion, the best example of this is Dale Earnhardt. Dale Sr., the NASCAR legend, did not get the nickname of the Intimidator solely off of how he carried himself. Earnhardt was one that was not afraid to use the chrome horn to get his way on track, moving drivers out of the way that were simply too slow to have even been ahead of him. This is what caused fear to immediately be struck in the hearts of drivers who checked their rear mirrors only to see the aura of the black number 3 car behind them on track, move out of his way, or get moved. Ayrton Senna is another example, the 3-time Formula 1 world champion who was so lethal over a qualifying lap that simply watching him conduct one was a moment in time where a driver was exhibiting aura simply by just driving his car as fast as possible. If we go back to the definition of aura, we'll see that places and things can also have aura. But does this translate to motorsport? Do cars have aura? I think they do, and here's an easy example. The McLaren MP4-4, one of the most dominant cars in the history of the sport, the iconic Marlboro livery. This is a car that has aura. When you see it, you are immediately reminded of success and its impact on the sport. Even outside of F1, multiple cars in racing history have aura. The 962, the 190E, the Ford GT, the Group B Audi. These cars had a legendary impact on racing and as a result, have aura. When you see them, you are instantly reminded of bygone golden eras of racing and, as the definition states, creates and surrounds itself with a certain atmosphere. The definition also highlights places, which brings itself another question. Do tracks have aura? I would think so. Let's think of a few. Indianapolis, Daytona, Suzuka, Le Mans, Spa. Do these tracks give you a feeling of importance? If yes, then fair enough, tracks indeed can have aura as well. But now that we've examined most avenues, here comes the final boss question where aura is concerned. Who has or had the most aura in motorsport history? Now, I mentioned legends like Dale Earnhardt and Lewis Hamilton earlier, but I wouldn't necessarily give it to either of them. Another shout would be Ken Block, who managed to create an unmatchable atmosphere with his recognizable brand Hoonigan, his 43, and his sponsorship with Monster Energy, and who could forget his amazing cars and stunts. But no folks, when it comes to having aura, there is one person in motorsports that stands tallest as the true master of aura. His name is Valentino Rossi, the neon yellow, the 46, the adoration of fans no matter what track is visited, the 9 world championships to legitimize his massive fan base, the celebrations. Valentino Rossi's aura transcends literally everyone else's, and if there's one place where that aura is at its peak, it's at Mugello, his home track in Italy. The crowd decked out in Rossi's signature yellow, flags and flares as far as the eye can see, Rossi pulling out of the pits with his special Mugello design as the crowd cheers his name. This right here is peak aura, aura that simply cannot be matched by anyone in motorsport. But anyways, to put this absolutely ridiculous video to an end, I will say this much. Really and truly, aura is in the eyes of the beholder. Despite the fixed definition I used, aura means many things to many people. Where some people will say one driver has aura, another will say the driver does not. I originally made this video to see if I had what it took to explain this concept of having aura a bit better. But the reality is the world cannot be restricted to one clear-cut definition, at least not how it's used on social media. In conclusion, aura is whatever you really want it to be, whether it be the look, the driving style, the personality, or even the memories something brings you. Only you, the viewer, knows what aura truly is. My name is Intern, I talk wheel, and thanks for watching.